Welcome to video lesson problem solving solution number 1. You should be here if you've completed another topic lesson cycle and you're ready to start a new one. Please make sure you start with your name and today's date and your period. We're going to start by taking notes, so let's look at introducing problems and solutions. A problem is something that causes trouble. Let's go ahead and write that in. A solution is something that makes trouble go away. In fiction, the problem is called the conflict. We have learned about conflict before. There's different types of conflict in fiction, and we've gone over those in class before. Hopefully you remember. And the solution is called the resolution. This is when things get resolved at the end of a fiction story. You can use these tips to find problems and solutions. As you read, ask yourself, what is causing trouble? This is the problem or conflict. As you continue reading, ask yourself, what solves the problem? Right? How does the problem go away? Or makes it go away. That's what it just said. This is the solution or resolution. So as you can see, we have several synonyms for solve, solution or resolution. Okay? Those all mean the same thing, to make the problem go away. Let's think about it. Read the paragraph below, find the problem and the solution. Until 1999, scientists did not know if any Javan rhinos were left in Vietnam. That is because the animals are quite elusive. So scientists decided to set up cameras. Sure enough, the cameras were able to get photos of the rhinos, proving that some are still there. Number 1, until 1999, what problem did scientists have? So I'm going to look in the text and see. Up here, it tells me a problem is something that causes trouble. Okay, so what trouble did the scientists have, or what was their problem? Right here. Here's a clue. It says until 1999. I found that in my reading. Until 1999, scientists did not know if any Javan, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Javan rhinos were left in Vietnam. Okay, so we're going to write down the problem right here. Did not know if any Javan rhinos were left in Vietnam. Number 2, what was it about the rhinos that led to this trouble for the scientist? Okay, so what was it about the rhinos? Here I see the word because. That lets me know the reason, right? When this is asking what was it about the rhinos, what was the reason that the scientists didn't know if any were left? And we can see right here, that is because the animals are quite elusive. Okay, so we're going to write down the animals are elusive. And I see that word elusive is in bold. That lets me know that that's a key term. So I wonder if we can use our context clues, which is another lesson that we should have either already listened to or will be listening to figure out what elusive means. Well, I know that in the sentence before, it said scientists did not know if any rhinos were left in Vietnam. And it says because they were elusive. And then it says, so scientists decided to set up cameras. So I'm going to use, make an inference and come to the conclusion that elusive means that they were kind of like sneaky, right? They were hidden because they we had to place hidden cameras to find them, and nobody knew if they were left. So they probably, elusive probably means that they hid away, or they were sneaky, right? They avoided people. Okay, sure enough. Oh wait, let's go down to number 3. How did the scientists solve their problem? The last sentence says, sure enough, the cameras were able to get photos of the rhinos, proving that some are still there. So they proved that the rhinos were still there. So how did they do that? How did they solve this problem? How did they make the trouble go away? Remember, the trouble is they didn't know if there were any left. So how did they make the trouble go away and prove that there were some? It says that they decided to set up cameras. Okay, so this is how they solved the problem. They set up cameras. And they got photos. And got photos of the rhinos. Okay, so you can see that their problem was they didn't know if there were any left. They, because the animals were elusive, so they set up cameras and got photos of the rhino. Problem solved. A good strategy to use with problem and solution is scan and skim. You can scan and skim a passage to find out what it is about or to search for information. When you scan and skim a passage, you read over it quickly. First, look at the title and any pictures. Those are structural features that you want to look at. Then look for keywords that give you information about the passage. Finally, scan smaller sections of the passage that you think may contain important details. You are now, after you have all of these notes, ready to turn over to use what we learned. This says, read the passage, use the notes on the side to help you, then answer the questions on the next page. So I see from our notes it says to scan and skim, read the title, look at the picture, and scan the passage to figure out what it's about. The title, How to Count Rhinos, and then I see a picture of what it looks like a rhino. So I'm going to infer that this is about how to find the rhinos and figure out how many there are, because it says count. Note 2 says, find problems and solutions. Ask yourself what trouble the scientists have. Look for how the scientists solve their problem. Also, scan for information. Scan the last paragraph for details about how scientists are counting the rhinos. So these things are these are clues to let us know what's going to be important when we answer the questions on the back. Let's go ahead and do the reading first. How to count rhinos. Because of hunting and harm to forests, the Javan rhino is endangered. Only about 60 of these rhinos now live in Java. Until 1999, scientists did not know if any Javan rhinos were left in Vietnam. That is because the animals are quite elusive, so scientists decided to set up cameras. Sure enough, the cameras were able to get photos of the rhinos, proving that some are still there. Now scientists want to know exactly how many rhinos there are in Vietnam. This will help them make a plan to save the rhinos. But how do you count animals that are hard to find? You call in the dogs. Scientists are being helped by 2 dogs that are trained to sniff out rhino waste. The pair has searched the forest floor for droppings, and they have found several piles. Scientists will send these to a lab. Their tests will show how many different rhinos the waste came from. Tests will also show how many rhinos are male and how many are female. Wow, that is very interesting. Let's go ahead and turn our page to answer the questions. First, we have an example that shows us how to find the answer. The example says, choose the correct answer, use the steps at the right to help you answer the question. In the first paragraph, what problem faces Javan rhinos? Okay, step 1, reread the part of the passage that the question asks about. I reread the first paragraph. So let's go to the first paragraph and reread it. Because of hunting and harm to forests, the Javan rhino is endangered. Only about 60 of these rhinos now live in Java. Until 1999, scientists did not know if any Javan rhinos were left in Vietnam. That is because the animals are quite elusive. So scientists decided to set up cameras. Sure enough, the cameras were able to get photos of the rhinos, proving that some are still there. So let's go back to our question. And it says, step 2, look for the trouble that faces rhinos. I see that because of hunting and harm to forests, there are not many Javan rhinos left. Look at the answer choices. I find that one of the answer choices says that Javan rhinos are endangered. That matches the problem I found. Okay, and that also matches when we went back in red. So we're going to go ahead and circle in the first paragraph what the problem the Javan rhino faces the Javan rhinos, and it is that they are endangered. Endangered means that they're in trouble of becoming extinct, meaning they no longer exist. Now read each question. Circle the letter of the best answer. In 1999, the scientists set up cameras to solve what problem? So let's think about what we read. They did not have enough pictures of the Javan rhinos? No, that wasn't the problem. They did not know if any Javan rhinos were left in Vietnam. I remember that that's the problem. I'm going to asterisk it and just go back and look at my reading and make sure and see if I can find that. And it says right here, the scientists did not know if any Javan rhinos were left in Vietnam. So I know that we are correct and B is the right answer. Let's go ahead and circle that. Number 2, knowing how many Javan rhinos are left in Vietnam will help scientists. What will it help them do? A, find a solution to save the rhinos. B, find a solution to feed the rhinos. C, find a solution to train the rhinos. Or D, find a solution to capture the rhinos. So let's go back and look at the text to figure out the answer to this question. What do they need to do? Are they trying to feed the rhinos? Are they trying to... I see in paragraph 2, it says, now scientists want to know exactly how many rhinos are there in Vietnam. This will help them make a plan to save the rhinos. There's our answer. We found it exactly in the text. So we're going to circle B. Find a solution. Oops, I'm sorry, I circled the wrong one. Find a solution to save the rhinos. Let's go ahead and circle A. That's what we saw in the text. Number 3. It is difficult to count the rhinos because they... Please go back in your text at this time and find the answer. It is difficult to count rhinos because they... I see where it says that right here, it's difficult to count animals because that are hard to find. Okay? So that's why it's hard to count. Go ahead and circle the correct answer. 4. How do scientists solve the problem of counting the rhinos? Okay, let's go ahead and look in the text. How did they solve this problem? What did they do to count the rhinos? Not to get a photo of the rhino, but how did they count them? That's going to be in your last paragraph. Go ahead and read the last paragraph, and then you will be able to answer question number 4 independently. Once you finish question number 4, you're ready to get out your tracker, check off problem solution lesson 1, and move on to problem solution lesson 2.